Business Bites with Invest Northern Ireland. Go further and grow stronger with Invest NI. Visit investni.com/export to reach your exporting potential. Invest NI. Go further and grow stronger.
Hi, welcome to another edition of Business Bites from Bauer Media here in Northern Ireland. My name is David Tighe, and each week we take a look into the world of business with a story that may be of interest. We hope it is. And this week, I'm delighted to welcome Richard Kirk, who is the founder of Workplus. Richard, welcome to Business Bites.
Thanks so much, David. It's good to be with you.
Well, it's great to have you with us. We're really interested in this idea about Workplus. So first of all, for people who don't know, tell us a little bit about what is Workplus, and then perhaps tell us, as a founder, how did you come up with the idea?
Well, David, the purpose of Workplus is to help better career pathways happen. And we work with businesses and also people who want to make a next step in their career, whether that's immediately after school or it's as a career changer. And really, we've found that space is really chaotic, and we're trying to bring some order to the chaos. So we work with employers and aspiring career changers, apprentices, work experience students to help them connect better.
Well, it sounds like an admirable objective. So how did you come up with this idea? Or did you have a eureka moment? Or I'm really interested to find out how you just woke up and found Workplus in your mind.
Like many businesses that start, it starts with pain. So we were talking to businesses that were really struggling to find good people and really exhausting all the available pathways that they'd used in the past. In some cases, really finding it difficult to bring in graduates that had the life experience and also the malleability that they could come and shape them into the people that they wanted to be. So employers were saying to us that we're really struggling to find good people and we want to grow our own future talent. So we help those businesses to engage really well with the education system and to engage with schools, but also employability organisations where folks have maybe not had the full school experience. They're working with the Princess Trust or organisations that are helping them to get those life skills, and then we connect them into the employers that we work with. So really, it's trying to change the culture around apprenticeships and engagement with schools on behalf of those businesses to make it much easier for our people to make the next step in their career.
If I'm running a business, are there specific areas of business that you work with, or is it limited in any way? And if I was a business person and I was considering apprenticeships, not something I'd done before, what are the kind of benefits of taking apprenticeship, and how would I go about it with you?
Well, one of the HR directors that we work with in one of our member companies has over 30 years experience. And he made a point at a business conference about 2 years ago where he said, my apprentices are like my own homegrown tomatoes. It's a bit of a strange line to drop into a business conference, but he went on to make the point that it took them a while as a business to get to the point where they were ready to bring in apprentices. It required some thought about how they would create the conditions for them to flourish, but actually now that they've done that, they're reaping the benefits. And he used the example of his homegrown tomatoes with getting the right location for his greenhouse and his garden, getting the right soil, temperature, moisture content, all of that. But now nothing tastes like his tomatoes, and he's so proud of them. He tells everyone about them and wants them to try too. But it shows that there is some different thinking required by the business to be able to draw people in at that level. We work with businesses to help them do that work. And actually what we don't do is build a greenhouse in each garden of each business. We actually invite them to an allotment sort of life, because we're a membership network for businesses. We invite them to join in with each other. We have HR managers from competing organizations who are working together because they know that there's a bigger prize at stake. And that is bringing people in, growing their future talent, and finding that that's much more beneficial to them as an organization. And when you mentioned about the different As a business, where do you start? Well, we can help navigate that space. We're not the training provider, so we're not the college or the university. But the challenge is, if you go and speak to a college or university, they'll just tell you about the apprenticeships that they deliver. And actually, that may be limited to the courses that they have on offer. Whereas they'll not tell you about the provider down the road who could really complement what they're doing for you. So there are apprenticeship pathways now in over 130 different areas, David. So you've got the traditional areas like plumbing, carpentry, motor vehicle, hair and beauty, those areas. But on top of that, you also have sales, marketing, administration, customer service, quantity surveying, civil engineering, software development, finance, fintech, accountancy, business. There are a whole range of opportunities. And it's not just for people who have left school with low qualifications. There are some apprenticeship pathways that can bring people in at that stage, but we're also finding that we've got straight A students leaving school after A levels, not wanting to go to university full time, but to go to university as an apprentice, 4 days in work, 1 day at university. They get their fees paid for them by the government, and they get a salary. And in some cases, that starting salary could be up to 21, 22,000, depending on the sector that they're moving into. So it's a real win-win for everybody.
It's really well articulated, and thanks for explaining to me there. Just thinking about the platform, because sometimes the way that employers and apprentices, or even just potential employees, can interact can be quite difficult and can be quite messy on a number of different platforms. How does Workplus work? I mean, in its kind of execution, if I'm just bumping into it on the internet.
What we don't do is just leave the employers with a great plan about how they might implement apprenticeships. We have created a place where, through our platform, the employers are able to see all the apprenticeship products across the whole of Northern Ireland, and they're able to add those to their basket. And then what we do is we do that in a coordinated way. We get the employers adding all these apprenticeship pathways, creating their job descriptions by a deadline, which is the end of December each year. And then it means by the middle of January, we can open up a campaign which is easier to engage with for parents, young people, career changers, schools, etc. That they can then encourage people to go to one place to apply to all those different types of apprenticeship. Come back to the reason why any business exists. Mentioned, are you a painkiller for people? And that's really what we're doing. We've listened to the schools and parents and young people, and they've said it's really hard to find an apprenticeship because individual employers are doing their own thing. And what we need is to have something which is like a UCAS style platform for apprenticeships in Northern Ireland. So that's what we've built to be this broker between the employers on the demand side and the applicants on the supply side. So it means that someone comes to us, they create a profile, which is all their personal information. So they're not repeating themselves across these multiple companies. And then they're able to apply to different types of apprenticeships that might be suitable for them. Then the campaign closes on the 24th of February. That's when the applications close. They can take an aptitude test as part of that as well to help draw out all those hidden talents and skills that they have. The employers just aren't interested in just the qualifications. They're interested in the whole person. The employers shortlist in the first week of March and then interview in the remaining couple of weeks in March. And it means then that the offers are made before Easter. So we could have someone who's still at school with an offer in their back pocket, walking into their exams thinking, well, all I need to do is get X UCAS points or X BTEC or GCSEs, and I'm walking straight into a job. And that's great focus for them to have as they go to finish well at school.
Sounds like a really, really good idea. So it is Apprenticeships Week here between the 6th and 10th of February. I suppose I can just finish by asking you, perhaps just to outline to employers why that Apprenticeship Week is so important, and what you've seen in your experience about taking apprentices on. To summarize, I suppose we're in a world where there are a number of challenges in the employment area. So what do you really summarize the apprenticeship idea to be?
For any of us, if we're going to try something new, it can be risky to do that. But if we know deep that the way that we've been doing things in the past just isn't working for us anymore, it's a really tight labour market. Employers are finding that with unemployment rates so low, it's really challenging to find the right sort of people that have the experience. But the best way to find someone with 5 years experience is to bring them in now as they are and develop them for 5 years, we're finding that the retention rate of the apprentices is incredibly high at 95%. And any HR manager would bite your hand off for 90%, let alone 95. So it's really proven to be a great way for employers to find new people. And it's just those barriers and those risks that need to be overcome first of all. So we invite them to become part of this wider network, and ultimately something which is trying to bring some order out of the chaos of our career system. So for the business perspective, it's about finding really good people that are going to stick. And we've had some career changes this year, David. So we have a 42-year-old originally from Zimbabwe, moved here 20 years ago, family, teenager now, and one in upper primary school, working as a taxi driver, 50, 60 hours a week to pay the bills. And all the other pathways weren't suitable for him, because if businesses are just saying you need a degree to get into our organization, he would need to drop out of work and just couldn't do that. Whereas he saw Workplus and applied for a software engineering apprenticeship. And it was actually after a chance encounter with a director from a software company who got into the back of his cab one night in a complete flap, needing to get him to the airport. And they had a very brief conversation, but it ended up sowing a seed in his mind. And he's now working as a software engineer on a brand new career and is just so happy that he's doing something that's more meaningful with his life.
Well, Richard, we could talk a lot more about this, but we are well out of time. I wish you and the team at Workplus all the best for the future. You're doing a great job, and more success to you and the team. And thank you for being our guest this week.
Thank you, David.
Business Bites with Invest Northern Ireland. Go further and grow stronger with Invest NI. Visit investni.com/export to reach your exporting potential. Invest NI. Go further and grow stronger.